Join us right at the very start of qualifying. The first laps are coming in. The drivers have made their way out onto the track here in Mexico, and there's a familiar voice back in the commentary box. It is myself, joining along with Ghost, who's had some internet issues, hence the lateness of the stream. We do apologise for that, but issues being issues. But we're here, we're at qualifying, Ghost, and it feels wrong me introducing this league because I haven't been here for the most of the season. So I'll hand over to you.
Yes, welcome back everyone to ESRL. It's fantastic to share the commentary box with Sumo again. How long's it been, mate? It's been a really
few seasons.
long time. Yeah, it has. But good to be back. Just 3 rounds to go in this thrilling championship, and with our championship leader Clemo not present today, it really spices things up for Finley to close or even surpass that gap today in his McLaren. We're at a track that I've actually quite liked this year, Mexico. But obviously a bit of a Marmite track it tends to be. But it's Steven Vasso on pole position at the moment at 13.0, and his NLR teammate Lewis Jones just over half a second behind, as I see Finley invalidate in the final sector. So he's going to have to try again, but a massive opportunity for him today to take the championship lead, or at least close that 18-point gap.
Yeah, it certainly seems it. I've had a little look over the championship. Perhaps I'll go over the standings to familiarise myself. But it's probably best I don't speak on my history with Mexico, to be honest, Ghost. We all know what happened if you were there on that fateful day 2 Tuesdays ago. Or maybe it was 1 Tuesday ago. I can't remember now. It was. I've kind of blocked that one out of my head. But let's take a cheeky little look over the standings. Then I say, Clemo championship leader. He's got an 18-point advantage over Finley, with then Steven Vasso, who is 48 points behind the lead. That would be 38 points behind Finley there as well. We've then got Johnny Stokes and Luca, the top 5. With then Speed, Joe Lancer, Cialda, Robin Brain. Yeah, it is Brain. I wanted to read that as Brian. Lewis Jones, the top 10. Then Zoxy, Jacko Reshka, J. Cole, Abdullah, Patty Pat, Mudev, Trugster, Kevin, Havish, Scott, Rowley, Simeon, Isenborg, Aces, Gino, Womax, and Kements all the way down, with the constructors looking like this. McLaren are 20 points ahead of Mercedes. That's a constructors battle, then 72 points behind the leader Sauber, who are then 3 points ahead of Racing Bulls, who are then tied with Red Bull, quite fittingly actually. Then Ferrari, Aston Martin, Williams, Haas and Alpine make up the rest of the Constructors' Championship, going in to this third to last round of the season.
Indeed, and just a bit of help with pronunciation, Sumo, since it's been a while for you. Mudev is, we just call him Mahmood.
Mahmood.
So I think the 7 is meant to be an H. And Cialda, we've been reliably informed, is actually supposed to be pronounced Chalda. So that's what we go for these days. Yeah, he currently sits in P7 as Reshka comes across the line in his Williams to go P9, 1.6 behind our pole sitter Steve Vasso. It's nice to see Lewis Jones actually qualifying for this one. He had a league race at 8, so he was unclear whether he would actually be in time for qualifying, but he is, and he is qualifying, which is great to see. I don't think Luca will do the same, because he would rather just well, let's not put too many words into that. Anyway, Finley coming through sector 1 though, for the second attempt at his lap. He's coming down towards turn 4 now. DRS Open, see 27.8 in that first sector. As yeah, he really needs to close that gap this week. Steven Vasso has also got a decent opportunity to get himself back in this championship after he looked down and out. But yeah, Clemo's absence is going to be a huge hit to his championship hopes, although unless Finley wins this race, which I think is unlikely, to be honest, with the NLR and guys and Luca in it, then Clanmo should still be leading the championship.
Oh.
Albeit by a lot less, and he's invalidated again. So as Stephen Vasso does a 13-0, just a little faster than he did previously.
Just a bit too aggressive on that first corner going into the stadium section there. It's really easily done, in all honesty. You've got a feel for Finley there on that attempt. It's Simeone's. He hasn't set a lap yet either in his Ferrari. Through the final corner he comes. That's P13 down there. I think Vasso did indeed go quicker on his previous lap as well. He extends his gap. It's 6/10 pretty much to Lewis Jones there in his Alpine. And then it's quite a split grid, in all honesty. There's a second covering Stephen Vasso and Speed Alcoholic. It's to be expected, to be honest. It's Stephen Vasso. He turns up to his session. He's pretty much guaranteed a pole.
Well, unless Luca does a lap, but I think he's doing his master first stuff again. But yeah, I mean, he is an incredible qualifier and very, very quick as well, is Stephen Vasso. And yeah, it's good to see him, you know, showing his true potential in qualifying, because he'll have a good race with Lewis Jones. He will, and then Luca, once he catches up as well, should be able to stay with them or pass them. But yeah, Finley, I don't think he'll be up with them today. He's not quite as good at Mexico from experience, having raced him around here, because usually I'm quite a way off him in terms of pure pace, but in Mexico I was right with him in APP as Muktimi, the newbie, comes through the final corner in his Mercedes. Can he improve on his P5? Yes, he can. He goes to P4, finds 2.5 tenths in that final sector. But yeah, good to see a new driver who isn't just sort of tier 0, as it were, like the NLR guys.
For sure. I think most drivers are not on a lap. Let's run you through a... Oh, never mind. Speed's coming to the pits. I was going to run you on a lap for Mexico, but never mind. Never mind. It's not happening. Unless Jacko's just started a lap. He has not. No.
I think Mahmoud's about to start a lap soon. Let's see if we go with him.
Oh, there we go. I can't even find him. There he is. Aston Martin. Here we go. Let's ride on board then. It gets on the turns on the ERS. You want a bit of overtake coming down this main straight to see you along. Turn it off once you reach about 7th or 8th gear. Then it's flat all the way down this very, very long straight. I think one of the longest, if not the longest straight on the calendar, bar Azerbaijan. And then into this tricky 1, 2, 3 section here, along here. We're not going to do a Danica Patrick describing that one. Really got to be aggressive over the curbs, and then in towards the end of sector 1 now. Got to be aggressive through here as well, down into 3rd gear, or perhaps 4th, no, 3rd for Mahmoud there, coming into this twisty stadium section. Got to really hit your apexes through these 2 corners and then open it back up for the twisty S's. You've got to be brave through this section of the circuit and really attack the corners as much as you can, and really sort of keep on that one line through here as well. And Mahmoud's done it pretty well coming through. Not a lot of battery left in the tank though as he ends sector 3 and then into the stadium section. Now don't invalidate through here, he doesn't, and then probably the slowest corner on the circuit through there, and then just climb up into 3rd gear. Then one more corner, don't spin and hit the wall like I did in tier 2 in APP, and then through along in towards the line. Not a bad go of it for Mahmoud. That's P9.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty clean lap. Looking at it, Finley's finally not invalidated, so we're seeing what he is capable of as he comes across the line. He's actually very close to the NLR guys. I'm surprised by that. 13.2 from Finley, goes straight up to P3, and well, he should be able to stay there at the very least. I don't think anyone else is going to have the pace to deal with those top 3. Tarkan Gino coming to the end of a lap as well in his V-car through the final corner, 2 tenths up in the middle sector. Any more improvement? No, he lost quite a bit of time in that last sector actually, and only manages to improve time, but stays in P14. Got the Alpine of Scott as well through the final corner, but I think, yeah, he's well backed off into the pits. He goes. So what about the Scottish driver, Jack Alacco? Never mind, he invalidates in the final sector, but I think he's coming into the pits. He is indeed. So that is that particular phase of laps done. Mahmoud, I believe, is on an in-lap too. So literally no one on a lap right now, Sumo.
I think Trugster is going to be the next to start a lap. He's on an out lap right now. I think this will be his last lap of the session by the looks of things. So he'll be making it through. Speed Con, is that speed? With changeable conditions. No, it's not, is it?
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. If it's Julian Wagner, I think?
No, it's not speed, no. Sakib.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Sakib, it's been a while. Well, looking like changeable condition. Looking like changeable conditions for the race, he says in the chat,
okay,
though.
It's definitely speed because he's been giving me weather updates.
Yes, it is speed. It's been a while since I've been in the box, speed. Forgive me if I'm rusty.
Thank you for the weather update. Did he say it was changeable for the race, did he?
Changeable for the race, yes.
Ooh, interesting. Well, Trugster coming through right now in the middle sector in his McLaren. See if there's any good. He's quite far down at the moment, which is surprising. Not expecting Trugster to be at least upper midfield in qualifying in ESRL these days. He's come through the S's and to the sector line. What's it going to be? He's half a second up, which is a lot more like it, but he's still looking at languishing down in 14th with a lap like that. He needs a few more tenths to get himself into the midfield. He comes through the final corner now. Just get on the power nicely on the exit, and he does hug the inside line to the line, and it's a 14-0. That's much better from Trugster, and up into the top 10 he goes.
Oh, look who's ventured out. Oh, on intermediate tyres, of course. Luca. Oh, dear. Fair enough.
I mean, he'll still probably be P8, to be honest, on Inters, but Lou Simeon's in Sector 1, is he improving? He's used a lot of ERS in that first sector, and he is 7 tenths up, but he's going to be down on ERS for the final sector, although the only real straight to use your ERS on is the one before the final sector.
Yeah, it is indeed. I'm always intrigued by drivers' run plans in qualifying. I always stick to a very, very solid run plan. I don't know about you, Ghost, but I've always got something that... I've always do the same thing every time. Doesn't matter what sort of session I'm in. 8 tenths up is Simeon's though through there, and he invalidates! Ah.
Just slightly too much. He tried to cut the corner like Finley does, and that is a real shame. He would have surely seen himself up into the top 14 with a lap like that. He's stayed out, but he's not going to have the ERS to do another lap like that again. He may still improve, but I think he will stay in 60.
I'm not sure. I think these two NLR boys were helping each other out there. I think Lewis Jones was getting a lovely slipstream of Stephen Vasso coming down the main straight. So a little bit of NLR assisting each other. He's 3 tenths up because of it.
Wow, well, Chalder also on a lap in his Ferrari in Sector 1 at the moment, and he's also 3.5 tenths up. So Chalder looking for that best of the rest position of what's going to be, I think, P4 in this race, or in this qualifying session. Through the double right-hander he goes, and into the S section. Obviously a little lift before the first one, but then flat for the whole rest of the section. You've got to cut the corners as much as you can, use all of the track, and then DRS open all the way down towards the end of Sector 2. He's only 2.5 tenths up now, so he's lost a tenth in that middle sector. And he's been blocked! He's been blocked by the Alpine of, I believe that is Scott, actually. That's very embarrassing.
Scott.
That's very embarrassing
no.
for Scott. Caught live on stream as well. Oh dear, Scott.
Oh no.
Oh dear. Well, plenty of cars on lap, Sumo.
Yeah, there is. J. Cole, he's about to start his final lap. Let's find the next car. Johnny Stokes has invalidated his speed just behind. He's not up on his time. He's currently 4 hundredths of a second down. Can he find anything through this stadium section now? He's got 2 more corners to navigate. Here's one, and then there's one more here. Goes straight into the next one. Through speed comes. Can he improve at all on that lap time? No, he can't. A 10th shy of an improvement. Reshka comes across now, up into P8 ahead of speed. Then the other Red Bull of Robin, no, into the pits. He's invalidated. How about Isenborg? Is he improving? No, he's invalidated his time through there as well. Tarkin Gino making his way through the final couple of corners. Has the RB got anything in the tank to see him further up the grid? It goes up to one more place, just ahead of Jackalacco.
Yeah, Jacko himself not improving either in the middle sector.
Oh, it's
Finley takes
Finley!
pole! Oh my goodness! A shocking pole position for Finley. Jacko retakes that P14 by just 0.004 of a second. So very, very close there. Lou Simeon's across the line. He does improve to 16th, but not enough to get him any further than that. Lucas doing donuts, because of course he is. Chalder coming through the final sector invalidates, but I don't think he was improving anyway. So that is going to be your qualifying. And it's a very surprising, I have to say, no disrespect for Finley, but I wasn't expecting him to be on pole today with the NLR guys racing. By 0.007 of a second and a 13 dead, CBI Finley takes pole position in a race he needs to win to take the championship lead heading into the last 2 rounds.
A very satisfying pole position, it must be said. 13 seconds flat. That's very impressive from Finley. And he's just come off the back of a race around Belgium as well, so very impressive. Although saying that, it looks like he didn't have much challenge during that race, Ghost.
Indeed.
And he only did 30 minutes of practice.
Well, it's alright. He's gotten pole in ESRL and beaten both NLR guys, but he still couldn't beat me in the race in APP around here. So no, in all fairness, I think he's going to be more scared of track limits penalties in the race, because that's where he lost it in APP a few weeks ago. So if he can keep it within the white lines, he might have a really good shot at this, at taking this championship lead. But yeah, he's going to need a bit more than, or a bit less than what he had in APP. I think he got up to 15 seconds or something in APP. McTimmy also in the top 4 as well. He did manage to close in closer to those top 3, so he might be within the battle as well, the newbie to ESRL today. But yeah, an interesting grid overall. Scott is profusely apologizing to Chaldo in the chat. And I'm sure he will probably report himself for that one, as it looks like we're starting off with the rain, Sumo.
We are indeed. I've got to say that F124 doesn't really like doing a lot of rain. I've not done many wet races or qualifying. I think I've done one wet race and one qualifying session since I've been back on the wheel, to be honest. In recent memory, I've probably done a couple more, but I don't remember many of them. I'm not complaining too much, but yeah, there you go. But it's quite slippy out here in the rain, though, from memory. I did a little bit of wet practice here in Mexico, and it's quite slippery, so it's going to be quite some conditions for the drivers to master here today, and it's changeable as well. So it's going to be interesting strategically. When is it going to change? Is it going to be late? Is it going to be early on? It doesn't seem to be raining all that heavy right now, but yeah, that can change on a whim here.
It can indeed, and yeah, it's going to be a test of our drivers. Remember, no assists at all in ESRL, so the drivers have got to get used to these conditions without any guide to help them. They've got to find their pace as soon as they can. It's all about adaptability when the conditions are different in the race than they are in qualifying. Because you get used to how you were driving in qualifying, and then you have to adapt to the either less or more grip in the race. Obviously less today, but and then obviously when the conditions get drier, assuming speed is right about them, it's going to be even more of a challenge to adapt mid-race too. So and remember, Sumo, in this game, qualifying to race, or sorry, wet to dry weather is very unpredictable. It's really difficult to know when the crossover is. Very easy to see that the track looks dry and come in, and then you go out in slicks and it's actually still an ice rink. And I wonder if anyone will do that today. We saw plenty of people do that in PSGL on Monday when me and Daka were commenting on that. So yeah, going to be an interesting one, this one. And there's no formation lap, so we'll get straight into it as soon as the grid.
Excellent. They still haven't added flagpoles, by the way. Still haven't added that. There's flags.
Have you noticed that the Finnish flag in the crowd is wrong as well? The middle stripe is in the middle of the flag instead of slanted to the left.
Oh yeah, so it is. I mean, it kind of looks like it's a weird shape, to be fair. I don't think it's quite. It's like a trapezoid almost. If you manage to catch it flat on. We are waiting an awfully long time here. I wonder if I hope nothing's happened to the lobby as we go along. But yeah, lots of other flags. We've got this Monaco, Brazil, Mexico, Australia there. I could see the European flags. I don't know why you'd bring an EU flag, to be honest. Here we are. We're going to go racing. Oh, we are getting a formation lap. Never mind.
I think Scott might have put that on by accident. He said it was off unless he announced that the change missed it. But yeah, also that was, I think it was a Polish Monaco flag. The colours were the wrong way around.
They're on slicks, Ghost.
They are. So we're starting on slicks. I wonder if this is going to be one of those races where you start on slicks and then drivers are going to be wanting to go on the inters straight away. But by the looks of the NLR guys starting on hards, I don't think that's going to be the case, Sumo. I think we're just going to have this kind of hybrid condition as Finley spins out of turn 5 just to prove how difficult this is going to be. Yeah, I think we might have these hybrid conditions for quite a while, and yeah, I tend to really like these conditions, so I tend to thrive in these kinds of conditions, but a lot of drivers really hate it, so we will see who's going to show their mettle in these kinds of changeable conditions.
Yeah, oh, it's awful, this. Awful, but most of the grid looking like they're going for the medium tyres. A couple starters on the softs there. Not sure how wise that's going to be. And then on the hards, I suppose the softs will offer them a little bit more grip over the other tyre options out there. But yeah, this is very slippery conditions and a big gap now. Look to Finley and Stephen Vasso there. Look, Finley's just about to line up his grid slot. Stephen Vasso's just rounded the last corner.
Guys did hold up the formation lap last week, but I think this time they were just legitimately trying to warm their tyres more, and Finley was eager to get on with it. But we are heading to the grid now, Sumo, and well, there's a V-carb spearing off in the background. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, everyone lining up now, and the race is about to begin.
Here we go then, we're waiting for the 5 red lights. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here in Mexico for Division 1 ESRL, round number 10, and we are underway and racing, and it's a timid start from everybody on the grid, but it looks like Finley's got away very well. Stephen Vasso's going to try and pull up alongside him though, in towards turn 1, the Alpine of Lewis Jones looking for it as well. It could be 3 wide as they go into turn number 1, maybe even 4 wide with the Red Bull, but it's free for now as they go through Finley, fending off Lewis Jones, who's trying to go around the outside, becomes the inside, goes over the curb, but Finley holds the two of them off, and they're side by side. A little drift from Lewis Jones, but they all get away nice and cleanly in these tricky conditions. Finley got away the best out of everybody out of the first 3 corners, and now it is the 2 NLR boys on the back foot as we go through the twisty section.
Yeah, Rashka with a great start, up 3 positions as well, looking to make it 4 as he tried to go around the outside of Robin Brain through turn 5. It didn't quite work on this occasion. It was an absolutely disastrous start for our newbie McTinney. He is down 7 places, but he was down 6 before turn 1, Sumo. He has a horrible getaway. He just had no confidence whatsoever on the throttle, and he's down to P11, and he's sliding all over the place, down to P12 now, and well, he is not enjoying these conditions one bit, but yeah, what a getaway for Finley, absolutely perfect for him as the NLR guys continue to chase him down. Luca up to P9, so he's gonna get his and get his nose into that battle for the front places as well. But Finley will be hoping he stays back a little longer because, of course, it's important for Finley's championship if he can win this race. Reshka into the pits early, both Williams in, assumedly for intermediates. I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, it is Inters for Reshka. So he thinks the time has come already. Interesting. Why have the NLR guys gone for hards if it's this bad?
Yeah, it looks quite bad out there, to be honest. I was looking and I was riding on board, and there was a lot of wheel spin for a lot of these drivers, but I think they're just sitting here timidly. It's going to be interesting to see if the intermediates are any quicker, as Lewis Jones getting close to the back of Finley through there, though. But Finley holding them off well. Then there's Robin Brain just in the background there, just lurking in P4 as we make their way in towards these S's. And let's ride on board. Let's see how sort of tricky it is. You're going through there and just listen to the end. It's just all over the place. It's got no grip, no confidence going through those corners, all of them. He was adjusting the steering wheel, lifting at times as well. It's very tricky conditions out there. I will not be surprised if more drivers come into the pits. It's the bottom 4 drivers of Reshka, Jacko, McTimmy and Simeon that have gone through, as Luca fighting with a Red Bull. They're both into the wall.
Wow. Oh, contact. What happened there, Sumo? I just rode on board, so I didn't actually see what happened.
They came side by side by the looks of things, and then they just got locked on each other, and I think neither of them could get out of it by the time they got together, and they just slid into the wall.
That's great news for Finley, but he has been overtaken for the lead. Lewis Jones has made a move down towards turn 1. Finley battling with Steven Vasso through the next corner, but he can't quite get it done. The Sauber driver, and Finley stays in P2. But yes, good news for Finley to have Luca having some trouble, but DRS is still on, Sumo, so the game still reckons it's slick tyres out there. But look at how quickly Reshka is catching Tarkangino. He's caught him by 6 seconds in 1 lap there. So I do wonder if the Inters are the better choice here. Certainly 6 drivers think so. And, well, Speed obviously had to repair his wing as well, but we'll see if they can make any more progress when the others do pit. Maybe they feel that it's going to get dry later on. Maybe they know that that is going to happen, and that's why they're sticking this out. But how long will it take for the Inters to become better, as Finley was nearly into the back of Lewis Jones there?
Yeah, very deep, and Steven Vasso might have had an opportunity there. He's very close to the back of him through there. Be interested to see who's got the confidence on the grip through there. Lewis Jones certainly has some confidence and has got a feel for these conditions now. But Reshka now 5.7 to the nearest car, which is Tarkangino, and Lewis Jones might be under some pressure here now. Finley down the inside. Oh, they nearly came together there. Steven Vasso, though, around the outside, and the McLaren. He's going to get both of them. Oh, it's Finley going to dart around the outside. It's going to be close as they come out of the exit of the corner. They're still side by side, but Finley's just eking ahead now. He's got the DRS as well. It's a double DRS zone through here, and Lewis Jones has lost 2 places in that series of corners, and down in towards turn 4. Finley back into the lead. Fantastic battle.
Brilliant stuff, and there's some fastest laps coming out from those on the Inters, so they are catching. I'm going to have a look at the lap time for Finley at the end of this lap, because he would have had the DRS, unlike the Inter drivers, so I'm interested to see how much slower he is. But they come through the S's. Finley sliding his way through the S's there twice, even as he caught the drift, as Steven Vasso pushing him all the way down towards the final sector, but staying behind on this occasion. He wants the DRS down to turn 1, of course, but they're all costing each other time here. Finley then coming through the final corner. What is the lap time going to be, I wonder? Because Reshka and co, they were all doing mid-24s. Finley's lap, a 25.6 from Steven Vasso actually behind him. So the Inter runner's running about a second a lap faster right now, as Robin Brain decides the time has come as well. Although, is the rain easing? I'm not sure. It's tough to tell. Robin Brain in for the Inters though as well. So obviously he believes it is too... the rain, if it does end, is going to be too late.
Yeah, it's still pretty bad out there from riding on board. Finley in third, but I think he won't mind that, as McTimmy sets the fastest lap, 1:24.3 for him on the Inters. And Reshka's caught a second to the leader. I've just had the gap to leader coming up. So, I don't know. It's hard. It's going to depend on the driver's confidence, I think. I mean, Stephen, Vasso, Lewis Jones, Finley, they are some of the... Well, I mean, not to throw any shade on any other drivers, but they're some of the elites in Division 1 here. And so they've really got it through, although Finley seems to have had a mistake and has lost some time now to the NLR boys. Might regret that maybe if he can't make it, but then again, Lewis Jones, little drift through turn number 4 there, so he's going to be right back in it.
Yeah, he absolutely is, and they're very close together still, those top 3 still in DRS range. Lewis Jones is just about going to get that DRS. Reshka makes up another place. He's up to P10. It's the fastest lap, though, from Stephen Vasso, a 24.2 despite the slicks. So it doesn't seem like the rain is easing, but maybe a dry line beginning to form and making those slicks a little better to drive on. Reshka coming through the final corner. What's his lap going to be, though, as he comes across the line? It's going to be slower. So obviously he wouldn't have had the DRS like those top 3 did, but even so, although McTimmy goes a little faster, but it's not that much faster. So I think the slicks are starting to become a little better, but I don't think Reshka's going to regret his decision to pit. Maybe the others behind him will, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably one of those with the engineers saying, "Oh yeah, it might be this, might be that." Sort of hard to tell sort of conditions out there, and I think that's certainly reflective in what's going on. Half the grid going onto the inters, of course, but then times coming in that are equal or thereabouts between both sets of tyre. So it's certainly a risk, as Finley's gone deep again, almost into the wall, in fact. But it could be the NLR boys fighting each other here, although maybe they'll just work together and keep it going.
Yeah, the mediums are a terrible tyre at this circuit as well, it has to be said. The hard's really the only good, slick race tyre on this track. It's Johnny Stokes the next to get a track limits penalty. I'm sure he won't be the last. Yeah, so Finley will be struggling with the deg on the mediums as well, and not just the conditions at this stage. As Trugster losing a couple positions there, a little half spin at the final corner for the McLaren driver. But top 3 still in formation for now, as the rain still coming down just as hard as it was by the looks of things. But Reshka catching up to that McLaren of Trugster now, as he looks to get himself into the top 6 perhaps, but after that there's a 6-second gap to Johnny Stokes.
Yeah, there is indeed. It's going to be a long old race for these drivers out there. 36 laps is a long way to go. Here's Reshka now round the outside, fairly easy move for the Williams, and makes his way through. I believe McTimmy just set the fastest lap, I want to say. No, it was Brian. It was Brian. But yes, 24-0. So it is very much that weird interim period of make a choice and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think it's probably more comfortable driving on the inters in these conditions.
I was saying that speed's just 22.5 just there, yeah, so
that's a very quick lap from speed. I don't know if he had the DRS because he was unlapping himself. We've got yellow flags. That's a Ferrari of Lou Simeon's round in sector 2. So, you know, those inters don't make you invincible, as he is showing. But I think they're certainly a lot better to drive on. Just riding on board with Reshka, he seems a lot more confident than the other drivers through the corners. And, well, if he can catch by another couple seconds in the next few laps and this rain keeps coming down, he might be able to say that he overtook Luca Rapasso in a legitimate race in ESRL, which I think he can always take with him. That would be very nice. That is a penalty for Robin Brain, though. It's that fastest lap coming at a cost by the looks of things. But Reshka still charging down J. Cole now, 8/10 to the Haas as they come through the middle sector. Lou Simeon's out in the pit lane, though. So no chance for safety car from that one, as the top 3 still still in formation at the moment. Nothing changing between them. Stephen Vassar a little out of sorts there into the stadium section as Jones goes into the back of him. But Finley sticking with them for now after he had a few struggles on the last few laps.
Reshka all over the back of J. Cole. Looks like it's a move. I think J. Cole's just pulled out of the way, perhaps, as Reshka made it right through. Had so much more confidence through that S section than J. Cole, and had no choice, really. Reshka was basically pushing him through. You can tell I'm musty.
You're all good, don't worry. It's just great to be sharing the box with you again. Finley had a huge moment on the entry to turn 1 though, Sumo. I think he locked the rears or touched the grass or something under braking, and he was completely sideways through the corner, but he's somehow still within range of those top 2. I think that's the benefit of these kinds of conditions. You can make mistakes and actually not lose that much time because everyone is sliding through corners anyway. So Finley just about okay still for now, but those mediums have got to be struggling by this stage with the deck. As Reshka not actually gapping J. Cole by that much, although the Haas would have had the DRS on this lap. But those inters still looking good at the moment. The rain is still coming down, and I'm not seeing a particularly visible dry line forming. So yeah, really interesting conditions this, because you can really go either way, and neither strategy is wrong. It's just what you're more comfortable with and what you can maximize. But Speed has retired from the session. That's also in the pit lane, unfortunately. So that's going to be no points to the South African for today. As Reshka now catches up to Luca, and the top 2 swap positions at the front as Finley has lost his 1 second range. He's out of DRS, and that could be very costly. I wonder if we'll see Finley into the pit soon.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen, to be honest. It's going to be interesting, because I was looking at the times. Reshka's still about 22 seconds from the leaders. Here he comes down the inside of Luca Rapassa. That's not something you see every day. But Luca's going to fight it, because of course he is. And he's down the inside now in turn 3. Doesn't make it easy, and they're locked together on the exit through the final corner of that section. And down they go in towards turn 4. DRS Reshka's way. I don't know if Luca's going to yield. He's not. He's going to run him all the way down. He's fighting this tooth and nail, but so is Reshka. Neither of them looking to back out as they're still side by side. Will Reshka yield to the Mercedes? He's not going to. Luca just running him as far off the road as possible. Surely this is Reshka's corner this time. Yes, it is. He's finally got it done. The battling was worth it, but Luca all over the back of him, but not much he could have done in towards turn number, I want to say that's 8, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe.
Yeah, it was a great little battle there through the middle sector between the two of them, as Stephen Vassar, by the way, has a penalty, and Finley does indeed come into the pits, and it is inters for the McLaren. Really interesting stuff. So he doesn't feel the conditions are going to get any better. But yeah, those top 2 continue to go on. But
watching Reshka, this could be close. Reshka's got the speed. Is he going to go for it into turn 1? Oh, I don't think so. Finley's just come out ahead of him, but he's going to have the warmer and more rubbered in tyres, I suppose, or grained, or just scrubbed tyres. Is a Ferrari round. That's Cialda round.
Yeah, just ahead.
Front ring damage.
Yeah, that's disaster for Cialda. He's all the way down to P7. Those mediums just proving too much of a challenge. Both the deg and the conditions. Really hard to drive on those mediums by this point, as Reshka and Robin Brain battling now for P4. Robin Brain trying to go around the outside of the Williams driver. Reshka lost so much time battling with Luca Rapassa, as here comes Robin Brain around the outside into the S section. Surely not. They go side by side all the way through. Reshka stays with them. They lock tyres all the way through the S's again, and it's Robin Brain who gets ahead. But look how much time they lost to Finley. That was 2 seconds pretty much that they lost. but it's Robin Brain who gets his way through despite the penalty. Luca has come in for the Inters. He's also repaired the damage to his front wing, so he's not out of this yet, especially if there's a safety car. But Chowder, more front wing damage, and he's round again as the top two NLR guys come in for the Inters. Where's Finley? He's coming around the final corner as he heads towards turn one. There they are, just ahead of him. He is going to be just about in range, I think, and he'll get himself back into DRS. But yeah, it looks like those Inters have been the way to go in this race.
Yeah, they certainly have. As Chowder gets a 10-second time, I think that might be a retirement from Chowder. Yeah, he's just cutting across the track at this point. Yeah, I think he's done for the day. Into the pits he comes. That is a huge shame for Chowder and the Ferrari as he ends his race early on lap 12. There it is.
Real shame that, because he was running very well until the fateful spin. But yeah, those mediums must be quite the handful. J. Cole and Trugster and Eisenborg still out on those tyres, by the way. But Finley is really struggling to stay within 1 second. He's giving it absolutely everything. I'm running on board with him. He is throwing the car through every corner. He knows how important getting a win today would be for the championship. And he has stayed in DRS range. The detection points just after this corner. He was a bit wide there, but he still should be just about fine, and he is within 9/10. And it's not something you see every day, this sumo. Everyone pretty much on the Inters, but DRS is still enabled as Finley sets the fastest lap, proving how hard he was pushing.
Yeah, it is a strange one. I'd have thought it might have been disabled now, but the rain, I don't know, it seems a little bit better. I'm trying to look at the track surface when I go slower, because you can see the droplets hitting the track, and it's definitely still wet out there. I don't think it's really improved, in all honesty, as Luca now sets the fastest time, because of course he does, as Reshka got his way back past Robin Brain, and he'll have DRS down towards there, and another one of Ghost's favourite things in Formula 1, a double DRS. Although I don't think this one irks you that much, or does it? I can't remember.
This is one of the worst ones.
Yeah. I don't know why there can't be a detection point like on the exit of 3.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel exactly the same. There's plenty of other tracks where the detection point is right before the actual activation. But yeah, apparently this one they've decided not to do that. And Eisenborg also comes in for a DNF after being on those medium tyres. So yeah, we've got a nearly 100% DNF rate for those who've stayed out on the Inters for this, or on the mediums for this long. Trugster the only one left, and he's still out there. I have no idea how he's still running on those tyres, but he continues to go on. As the top two swap positions again, but Finley still in DRS range, crucially, as the pass of Eisenborg's DNF car gets out the way of them. We've got Robin Brain into the pits to repair that front wing and go onto the hard tyres. He's going for slicks. It doesn't look like the rain is getting any better, Sumo. I'm surprised by that, but Robin Brain taking a risk as Reshka the next to pick up a track limits penalty. What a drive he's having in that Williams at the moment. But yeah, he's got to be careful to manage that 5-second gap to Mahmoud.
Yeah, he certainly does. Everyone with a penalty so far only has 3 seconds. So a nice, easy penalty update for you as we start to approach the that sort of halfway point of the race. As Finley gets a penalty now. That's huge. That's given Lewis Jones the advantage in this fight for the win.
It has, absolutely. And it's given Clemo the advantage, having even though he's not even here. If Finley doesn't win this race, then Clemo should be able to keep that championship lead going into the next 2 rounds, and it's a real psychological thing. Even if you're only leading by 1 or 2 points, it's quite a boost psychologically to have the championship lead. I think if Finley finishes second, then he might actually take the lead on countback. But so Clemo will be hoping that the 2 NLR guys can both beat the McLaren driver. But yeah, it's going to be so fascinating going into these last 2 rounds. Finley, by the way, he's in a close championship battle in both Tier 1 and Elite in APP too. So he's looking like he's going to finish this season in 3 very tight championship battles all at the same time, which is fascinating for him. He's been having a great start to 2025 so far, as Trugster gets himself a penalty for speeding in the pit lane just to add to his woes. But he finally gets off those mediums, and he's committed to the slicks. Sumo, he's gone for the hards.
Yeah, Robin Brain has been disconnected. I haven't got the ability to invite him. I don't know if you do, Ghost, but
nah, I won't, because he's a PC player, so
that's a shame.
Xbox player, I think. So, he should be able to get back in. The lobby's on friends only, but yeah, it's a shame he hasn't been able to, and it's a shame his AI has pitted him back onto the slicks. Mahmood, by the way, is in P4 because Reshka has pitted for some fresh inters. So obviously these sort of hybrid conditions, as Jacko spins unfortunately out of the S's, these hybrid conditions really wearing down those inters quite a bit more than they would otherwise be. So Reshka forced to pit, and that promotes Luca Rapassa into the top 5 as he hunts down Mahmood. He should be able to catch the Aston relatively quickly, and I think P4 still well in his reach today.
Yeah, it certainly is. We'll see if he can what he does on those intermediate tyres as we go along. But Reshka passed his teammate Jacko, although Jacko's into the pits as well. Perhaps some new inters for him. He's been on them for 14 laps, so I'm not surprised that he's come in for a stop here. The top 3 still locked together. They'll be hoping that Lewis Jones gets a penalty to match the rest of them, make it a nice even race so far. But Finley not out of this at all. He's just holding on. Let's see. Speak on at speed. Don't know what to say. If you don't let them through, you end up in an incident. Unfortunately, unlucky me. Yeah, that's a shame. Speed. It's always rough being about to be lapped, especially on the game, because if a safety car does come out, you're done. Well, there's no chance, you know. What can you do?
Is understandably not happy about being taken out by Rapassa.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what he will feel has happened, as Rapassa tries to go down the inside of Mahmood as we're talking about him. Speak of the devil, as he heads through the final corner, he should be able to make that move. Sumo, just to bring up something quickly, is this a 2-stop? Because Reshka and Jacko have both had to pit after about 12 or 13 laps on those inters. I don't think those who've pitted onto the inters are going to get them to the end in these conditions. So I think this is going to be probably the most unusual 2-stop you've ever seen, really. It's such strange conditions, but clearly the Inter is the more comfortable tyre, but it also wears down so much that you're forced to pit again by the looks of things.
Yeah, very much could be. I mean, Jacko and Reshka went about 14 laps.
Yeah.
Let's see. Reshka's gone 2 laps so far. So in theory, he'd go another 12. That'd be lap 29. So whether he goes all the way to the end on them or not, I don't know. He could end up he could pit maybe around lap 26, 27 if he wanted to go again for a 2-stop. It's very strange conditions actually, because I don't know. I don't think I've ever raced in conditions like this, to be honest, where the DRS is active, the intermediates are the favourable tyre, but they're not in the exact conditions that they like. So, no, it's a weird one. Certainly a weird one.
I kind of wish I was on track, to be honest. It's great to be in the commentary box with you, Sumo, but I want to try this. I want to see what this is like to drive in. Because it looks strange, but you know, it's the kind of conditions I thrive in, so I'd love to try this. But the drivers dealing with it as best they can at the moment. And yeah, Reshka's in a bit of trouble here. Same with Jacko. They could be forced into 3 stops here, because obviously those those inters are only going to go so far, and they have to do a whole half of the race on those. It's going to be tricky.
So, Simon Vasso doing a little Tokyo drift through the stadium section there. That was very exciting. Speed is saying in the chat that that it cleared up around just after halfway. So if the weather's going to go away and the track's going to start drying out, it'll be around now or the next few laps, I'd have said. If it's going to be any time, as Lewis Jones takes the lead once again, just swapping back and forth the leaders right now. As I think it's really the only battle we've got going on track right now.
It is at the moment. Jack Alacco catching the AI car of Robin Brain, but that's not much of a battle. It's all about these top three. As Mahmoud into the pits, presumably for fresh inters. He was, I think, probably hoping to take those to the dry weather, but he hasn't been able to. Just a step too far. In he comes for those fresh inters. Johnny Stokes in as well in his V-Card. Is he going on to inters too? Let's have a look. No, medium tyres for Johnny Stokes. He's going for it. McTimmy's also already pitted onto the hards a few laps ago, as have Robin Brain and Trugster. So, yeah, this is fascinating conditions. What an interesting race this is. It may not be the most breakneck entertaining, but it's absolutely one of the most interesting races I've ever watched.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what the lap times the leaders are setting right about now. 22.4 for Lewis Jones, and then I'm trying to find somebody on slicks that's near to the line. It's probably going to be McTimmy. Let's ride along with him for now. It's definitely the leaders are changing. Speed saying at the beginning the slicks were fine, but eventually it was inters that were faster. Really weird conditions tonight. Yeah, we've been saying, Speed. It is very strange conditions out there right now. Although McTimmy, I don't know, he seems to have a bit more pace than the Aston Martin ahead of him. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what his lap time is. He's coming around the last few corners now. 22.4 was what Lewis Jones said on his lap. It looks like it's going to be a bit slower. Yeah, 24.8 on the hards there. Johnny Stokes coming through as well. I mean, he's just come out of the pits though, so he won't get a representative time from him. But yeah, it's an odd one. It's an odd one, and I think Reshka and Jacko are put in that worse position than the likes of Mahmoud and anyone else who's stopped around now for fresh inters, because I don't think they're going to get them to the end, or they're not going to be very easy to drive on.
Yeah, but if it does dry up, then everyone's going to be forced onto the slicks anyway. So I wonder if the top three are thinking just take these inters as long as you possibly can, and then stick on some slicks to the end. I think that's what they're going to do if Speed is right about the weather changing. Jay Cole gets himself a track limits penalty meanwhile down in P6. He's having a decent race out there in the Haas. He started his ESRL career not the way he would have wanted to. He got some great qualifyings in, but his race positions were not what he was hoping for. But last week he had a decent race, and this week it looks like he's doing well as well. Yeah, Mahmoud on those fresh inters is going to be catching relatively quickly. McTimmy is falling back from the Aston Martin, and given the difference in their quali pace, that just shows the tyre difference even more to an even more extreme. But yeah, those top three still locked together. It's incredible stuff. They're pretty much identical for pace, just as they were in qualifying.
Yeah, Speed even saying it doesn't look like slicks yet, and I'd agree. It's definitely not slicks yet, and I don't know, the game could be a bit screwy sometimes with intermediate conditions, especially when it's changeable, because you never really quite know if it is going to go back to slick or not. The rain still isn't easing up from what I could see, so it's going to be difficult to judge. It might be a case if it's too late by the time it changes. You never know.
Luca's in for fresh intermediates, so he doesn't think the weather's changing. We are getting to that point where Reshka and Jacko had to pit. It's a few laps away before those top three are in that range, that sort of danger zone really, the 13 or 14 laps. But Luca on those fresh inters, I think they've got a big decision to make here. If it is going to dry up, then of course you go on the slicks, but if it's just going to stay like this, it's got to be the inters. And well, Reshka, like you said, Sumo, is going to be in a bit of trouble. I don't think he's going to make it anywhere near the end on those tyres. He'll have to make this a 3-stop.
Yes, indeed. A little bit of yellow flag in the stadium section. I don't think that's anything too dramatic. Scott onto the slicks now.
Finley into the pits, and I'm interested to see what tyres he goes for. He's obviously seen Luca pitting. Yeah, I see the green wall tyres in the background. Intermediates for Finley, and well, Trugs just come in at the same time, unfortunately for him. So a bit of a double stack there. Trugs just going for the softs. Okay. Yeah, that's certainly one of the decisions you could make, Trugster. But yeah, Finley is going to come out in perfectly clean air on fresh intermediate tyres, and he's got a great opportunity to undercut both NLR guys.
Yeah, the undercut works here. The pit lane's a lot longer than it looks here in Mexico. So it's definitely a good chance. You definitely want that clean air actually in these conditions, especially because you know, the less disturbed air running over the car, the better. Especially going through that S section that the leaders are making their way through now. These two still locked together, still advantage Lewis Jones. I'd be interested to know if he's got any track limits warnings on that Alpine. That will really tell the story of this.
He's had 2 since lap 4.
Oh.
Sumo, so he is running it thin here.
Are they both in?
Both head into the pits. Yeah, they've responded to Finley's undercut. And I would guess it's going to be fresh inters for them as well. But there's a lot more people going on to slicks further back. Jack Alaco is one of them. Scott and J. Cole also going for slicks. What are these two doing? Inters for Lewis Jones, inters for Steven Grasso. No risks taken from those two. And Finley comes around the final corner. I think he's going to be well ahead of both of them, Sumo.
He is.
Here he comes. Yeah, there he goes. Way ahead of Lewis Jones. I think he's going to be over a second ahead, but for how long? 1.5 seconds. Can they catch back up?
I don't know. It won't matter, to be honest, as long as Lewis Jones can stay within that 3-second window. It'll be a bit of a moot point because of that penalty. But you never know. With that one more warning before a penalty, Lewis Jones has got to really keep it within the lines, which could slow him down potentially. But I'm sure he won't be thinking about that in the cockpit. Reshka now onto slick tyres. Is it time? It still looks wet out there. I don't think the rain's really eased off. I'm trying to look at the track surface. I can still see the rain falling on the track. I don't think it's time for slicks.
What a fascinating race, Sumo. What a race for us to jump back in the box together. Reshka goes very deep into turn 1 and Johnny Stokes gets him with a nice little switchback. But the slicks, I'm just looking at Johnny Stokes and riding on board as he goes through the middle sector now. They don't actually look that bad. The rain's definitely easing off 100%. And Johnny Stokes coming through turn 5. I wonder, a little bit of a slide, but I do wonder here if any of those top 3 had gone onto the slicks, whether they would have had an easy win on their hands here, Sumo, because it's the rain is easing off, the weather's getting better. I think it's even stopped raining now, and those top 5 are going to have to come in for slicks. Mahmoud was already planning to, but Luca, Jones, Rapassa, Jones, Vasso, and Finley, I think have all made a big mistake here, and any one of them could have been easily winning this race if they'd made the other decision.
Yeah, it has indeed stopped raining. I can't see any more rain. However, I have looked at the gap to leader. If the top 4, if they come in, they're fine. They won't get jumped. It's Mahmoud and Luca who are probably in the danger zone in terms of coming in.
What I was trying to say was that if any one of them, say Finley, instead of pitting for the inters, he'd waited one more lap and gone on to the mediums, for example, everyone else, like Vasso, Jones, and Rapassa, had to go onto the slicks anyway. Here comes Finley into the pits, and the other two follow him in. If they got onto the slicks one lap earlier, I mean, Vasso and Jones have literally done one lap on those tyres. If they'd gone onto the slicks and taken a gamble, they'd be winning this race at a canter by well over 20 seconds. But none of them fancied the risk. They all wanted to play it safe. And, well, they'll be thinking of it as a missed opportunity. They're still going to, of course, all be in the battle for the win. But if one of them had made the other decision, they'd be well ahead.
Yeah, and it looks like Finley's lost some time out of the pit lane. Seeing Vasso's got back into DRS range. He won't have it down this next straight as he wasn't in range to begin with. Mahmoud stayed out on those inters. I think that's a huge mistake for him. He will lose a lot of time to the drivers behind now, I think. But, well, I think it's still the question of when / if Lewis Jones will get a track limits penalty for this top 3 battle, because he is in the net lead right now. And that ruins it for Finley. He's done it again.
He's done it again! I won't complete the rest of the quote. But yeah, 6 seconds to Finley. It's happening again. This is exactly what he did in APP. He was fine for most of the race. And then towards the second half, or the last third of the race, he just started racking up the penalties. And he did it last week in Qatar as well. I think I said on stream he was collecting penalties like infinity stones in the last 10 laps or so. He's doing it again, up to 6 seconds. And well,
Luke, what are you doing? I saw that. It was obvious Mahmoud was going to go into the pits, and Luca was trying to send a move into the penultimate corner. Just wait, bro. He's going to get out of your way in a second, like.
You have to think that. J. Cole with the fastest lap. But yeah, it's looking like in terms of the championship though, Finley is going to be losing out here. I mean, neither Mercedes are here. Clemo and Zoximus, neither of them are here. So Mercedes aren't going to get any points, which probably going to mean McLaren are going to secure the constructors. They're going to certainly take a healthy lead going into the last 2 rounds. But Finley, if it ends like this, he is not going to be able to take that championship lead, although he is at the moment building a little bit of a gap to the NLR guys, so he might still be able to beat Vasso here if he can make 3 seconds to the south.
Yeah, certainly. So just having a look at the penalty situation, it's 3 seconds. Vasso, Rapassa, Timmy, Reshka, J. Cole, Jacko and Brain. Then there's Tarkin, Gino, Stokes, Finley with 6, and then 15 seconds for Truckster.
Oh dear. It is a fast start for Luca in the meantime. As he tries to, well, I think charging after the top 3 is well out of range now. It's more about just gapping the rest and building a gap and hoping for a safety car. There's Truckster retiring in the pits though, so no safety car coming to Rapassa's rescue. A safety car would really spice this up. I think Rapassa would be very happy to see that. That's another penalty for Steven Vasso though, and that is huge in the context of the championship, Sumo.
Yeah, he just ran a bit too wide through the S section, and then just put all 4 wheels over the line. And I think he's just pushing a bit too much out there, and it's actually losing time right now to Finley. I think he's overdriving the car a little bit, maybe, and just really not going. A solid race from Reshka, says Speed, and yeah, he's doing well. I think he made the right decision at the right time to come in on those inters, and he's protected that top 5 finish, which is good.
He's doing very well. I mean, it's been a 3-stop race for him, but he's in the top 5. I think you're right, Sumo. I think he's made the right decisions, even though he had to come in again. It just looked like he was so comfortable on those inters. He just seemed more comfortable than anyone else in this race. And yeah, if he can secure a top 5 here, he'd be absolutely delighted. But Timmy he is on much older hards, but we know how fast he is from qualifying. So we'll see if Reshka can hold him off to secure that top 5 place, which I think he would richly deserve from this one. I think probably, I think it would be his best race, best result of the season, perhaps. I'll check that while I hand back over to Sumo.
Yeah, although saying that his hards are 14 laps old, so I think it might be a bit of a struggle. 5-lap-old mediums. I know the mediums aren't that good around here, but I think 5-lap-old mediums trump 14-lap-old hards every day of the week. I'm afraid. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle for McTimmy. Mahmood went for softs. They're going to melt. Yeah, I think so too. The track isn't all that forgiving around here at Mexico. And Lewis Jones about to strike. He's going to go down the inside of Finley now, and it's the lead for the Alpine. Vasso's going to go for it too. They're side by side, Finley and Vasso. This is fantastic stuff between the two of them. The battle for second place. They're equal on penalties, the pair of them. And Vasso just ekes out Finley and gets that DRS down to turn 4. Will Finley go for a late lunge into turn 4? He does! Woo!
Wow, what an attempt from Finley. He was burning ERS all the way down to turn 4, and I was wondering what on earth he was doing. That's why he had that in mind, but it didn't quite work out. He sticks behind. He knows how important this is for the championship. If he can get past that Sauber, he will take the championship lead on countback going into the last 2 rounds. But if it ends like this, he will be 3 points behind Clemo after this one. I checked, Sumo, this will equal Reshka's best result of the season. He's gotten 5th twice before this season, so he's really driving that car well today, as McTimmy has lost 2 positions now. He's down to P8, and he got himself a track limits penalty as well. So I think he is well out of Reshka's radar as the Williams driver is
Yeah, I think potentially struggling on those hards now. Or, I don't know, maybe dipping a wheel on the grass. He did have a bit of a dirty front right tyre. Oh, that's a lot of curb through there. Yeah, let's just see. Yeah, he's locking up a bit. Getting... I don't know. Oh, that's a slide through that penultimate corner. Yeah, not enjoying the best of those hard tyres right now. They are quite old, as Steven Vasso has taken the lead of the race now. They're just swapping places, I think, for these two. At the minute, Finley will want to get back ahead of that Sauber if he can. But it's going to be a waiting game, I think. As I think they could very easily keep chopping and changing the top 3's order each and every lap. So it's a waiting game for Finley, I think. But he wants to... He's going to have to ensure that he doesn't make any mistakes and stays in that ideal position, I think.
Absolutely, and well, as they get rid of the lapped car of Robin Brain, it is going to give DRS to Steven Vasso, so he'll be able to presumably maintain the lead of this race. And Finley's just going to have to sit behind for another lap. Just 5 laps to go in this race. It's been absolutely fascinating, this Mexican Grand Prix, as someone's gone round. I'm not sure who that was. I think it was Tarkan Gino in the S's. Yeah, that's a broken front left end plate on the V-carb, sadly for him. But yeah, those top 3 still in order as they head through the middle sector. I think we're going to have some fireworks in these last couple of laps, probably the last lap or so.
Yeah, I think so as well. Here's Johnny Stokes.
Oh,
McTimmy, pit lane. Oh. Almost wanted a safety car, but never mind. I think the field's a bit too spread for a safety car, really. I think Luca is just coming through the S's, and the leaders are just going through the stadium section. It's quite a big gap.
Indeed. Well, that DNF does at least promote Scott into the points. So he's into the top 10 now as Lewis Jones has a bit of a moment on the exit of the final corner. And here comes Finley, sets the fastest lap as well, does the McLaren driver. And, well, in this championship battle, it's so close. Every point like that is going to count. As they head down towards turn 1, there was a DNF car of McTimmy in the way there. That must have been very scary for the three of them. But Finley down the inside of turn 2, the outside of turn 2, the inside for turn 3. He's made the move on Lewis Jones, but the Alpine's coming back at him down towards turn 4. Stephen Vasso boxing Finley out. He's forced to brake early, and he's forced to trying to go all the way on the outside of 2 cars into turn 5. He goes for it at turn 6 though on Stephen Vasso, but the Sauber driver sees him off, and Finley stays behind, but he is desperate for that second place. Finley, he knows how important it could be in terms of this championship with just 2 rounds to go. After this one, 3.5 laps left in this thrilling race, and I don't think we've seen anything yet off this top 3 battle.
No, I think a little bit of teamwork going on there between the NLR boys, I won't lie. I'd feel a bit aggrieved if I was in Finley's position, working together there, despite being representatives for separate teams. But, you know, that's a bit of speculation there, I suppose. Speed is in awe of how late they broke in towards turn number 4 there. And yes, I mean, these guys are the cream, aren't they? The cream of the crop, as it were. And, well, swapping places of Vasso and Jones once again. Is Finley going to launch an attack on the Alpine, I wonder?
He's got plenty of ERS saved up, this Finley. He's been managing it very well. Stephen Vasso, not so much. And obviously, Vasso is the driver in Finley's sights because Jones doesn't have any penalties to his name, so he should be able to take this race win, should Lewis Jones. He's had a great drive to have no penalties at Mexico, to be fair. You know, Finley, Luca Rapassa and Stephen Vasso all getting 6 seconds just shows you how difficult it can be to stay within the white lines here. So Lewis Jones has done a good job there, but Finley more interested in the Kick Sauber driver ahead of him. Johnny Stokes, meanwhile, close to J. Cole as well for P6 as they head through the middle sector themselves. But Stephen Vasso ahead as Finley gets a great X at the final corner, pushing Lewis Jones through as they head towards turn 1 for the 35th time out of 36. They're both going to have the DRS as they head down towards turn 1. Stephen Vasso could be in trouble here, but Finley backs off in the end just before the corner. He goes for it though on the inside of them into the corner. They both go wide. It's 3 wide through turns 2 and 3. Surely not. Finley is forced to yield, and again he is back down in P3, but he is really putting those NLR guys under pressure as Vasso retains the lead for now. He goes for it down the inside of Jones though into turn 4. But I think it's going to be deja vu from the last time he tried this. Jones forcing them off the track even as Finley heads round the outside. I don't think Finley's going to be too happy about this, but he stays behind in the end. Just 1.5 laps left to go, and anyone could still win this if Lewis Jones is willing to play this hard ball.
Again, I think it's a bit of teamwork going on here. I'm not going to lie. Speed says it in the chat as well. I'd be livid, honestly. As he goes into the back of the Alpine now. I don't know if he got damaged there. There's a little bit of debris, but there's nothing visual on that car. But Lewis Jones 100% slowing Finley down on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. It's happening in front of our eyes. Can't deny it. And Mahmoud getting himself a penalty further back. But here they come down to turn 1. Finley not close enough. He looks to try and brake as late as he dares to go for the inside of Lewis Jones, but it's not going to work. As they head through 1, 2 and 3, I think Finley might be consigned to P3 here, and he's only going to be a few points off that championship lead going into the final rounds of this championship. But Stephen Vasso is still ahead for now. Still time for one more mistake. Could he get another track limits penalty perhaps? But they all go through. They've all got a decent amount of VRS, or well, similar amounts of VRS at least. As they head through the S's, Finley's going to give this absolutely everything, Sumo.
Yeah, he is. He's pushing Lewis Jones through the S's. Is he going to get an opportunity, perhaps, in towards that first corner of the stadium section? He goes for it. but Lewis Jones covers him off. He just wasn't able to get alongside the Alpine. The fireworks go off in the stadium. Stephen Vasso is going to round us through the penultimate corner, and he's going to cross the line ahead on track, but it's going to be Lewis Jones, the winner here, and NLR have worked together to secure P2 for Stephen Vasso and Finley. I think after 36 laps of fantastic battling, we'll feel a little bit miffed that these NLR boys have worked together to hold 1 and 2 when they're not really working together. That's a bit of a bitter taste, I think, to the end of the race, but you can't deny it was thrilling stuff to the end.
It really was, yeah, and yeah, in the context of a championship that's so close, it's extra bitter, really. But Reshka, what a drive from him! Best of the rest today, P5, and by a distance after a very high IQ 3-stop race from Reshka. I mean, it's the kind of thing that I'm used to seeing him do, just getting the strategy right when everyone else gets it wrong. And he's very, very well deserved top 5 result for him. J. Cole in P6, good race for the Haas driver too, as Johnny Stokes will have to settle for P7. Mahmood on 10-lap old soft tyres comes home in P8. Jacko in 9th, and Scott is going to come home for that final point, which I'm sure he'll be happy with, but wow, look at all those DNFs from this race, Sumo.
Yeah, it was a very topsy-turvy race, and I think it was one for the strong of will, as it were, out there on the circuit, and those who could make the right choices at the right time. The game has given Luca Rapazza driver of the day. I think I might give it to Reshka, in all honesty, personally, for that one. I think the top 4 are almost a bit of a given, really, in terms of where they came. So Reshka finishing best of the rest, and with the strategy as well in a tough race, I think he's done exceptional as Lewis Jones accepts his trophy, and the podium celebrations commence.
Yeah, great drive from Reshka overall. Absolutely deserved driver of the day today. Yeah, congratulations to everyone who got to the end of an incredible race. Really difficult conditions throughout. But it is Lewis Jones who takes the win from Stephen Vasso in P2. And Finley, fastest lap by only a few hundredths. So that is going to be an extra point for him. Luca Rapazza comes home in 4th with Reshka. Great drive for P5. J. Cole, decent drive for 6th as well. Johnny Stokes, good drive for 7th from 10th on the grid. Then it's Mahmood in P8. He'll be happy with that. Jacko and Scott round off the points with Robin Brain's AI finishing a lap down. Tark and Gino 2 laps down. And then it's McTimmy, Trugster, Eisenborg, Chalder, Speed, and Lucimians unable to reach the checkered flag. Yeah, it's a super interesting race overall, Sumo. With those conditions, I don't think I've ever seen a race quite like that.
No, it was well, it was a strategy dominated race, wasn't it? It was, what do you do? Started on slicks. Do you go for those intermediates? Eventually, everyone, well, almost everyone went for the intermediates, and then, I think Finley might be brewing a decision, or at least one of the 3 of the top 3 be brewing the decision not to go on those slicks a couple laps early. I think, because I think, as you said, Ghost, whoever did that, I think had got themselves an easy win.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine if Finley had strapped on the mediums. He would have easily won this race by well over 15 seconds. So I think all 4 of them really will be ruining that missed opportunity. In the end, they all went for the same strategy. So it was even in the end, but could easily have gone a very different way. But yeah, just a word on the championship then. That is going to bring Finley 16 points this race, due to the fastest lap as well. So he will be 2 points behind Clemo with just 2 races to go. What a season. Clemo will be gutted that he's had to miss this race, because what a season he has been having in ESRL. But Finley is going to push him all the way to the end. Next week, we head for our penultimate race to Monza, and Monza, always a great track here in ESRL, always produces a banger. And then, of course, Brazil for the finale, as always in this league, which also always produces a banger. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, it should be good. A case of shoulda, woulda, coulda, I think, for Finley there, but you got to move on to the next round. But it looks like an interesting final 2 rounds in store for ESRL Division 1. So tune in once again at the same time next week. I can't say that I'll be there. If I am, another little treat for you all. But I'm sure Ghost will be there to give you all the coverage of this fantastic championship. But I think that's it from me. Ghost, ain't got anything else to say.
Absolutely. That's all good from me as well. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching, as always. And yeah, make sure you don't miss the last 2 rounds of this thrilling championship battle. So thank you, everyone. I've been Ghost,
I've been Sumo.
and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye bye.